I'm actually a statistician that I still do a lot of work in data analytics, business analytics, user research, and a couple of things.
So nice to meet you, Patrick.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. John, I had to arrange this meeting because I saw a synergy between three of us with what you do, John. So I would just like you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, oh, right. So Patrick, I've got a science background, laser semiconductor physics at Sheffield and Sheffield Hallam unis and down at Cambridge. I've got an IT support business, but I'm moving across to sustainability consultant, but calling out greenwashing, basically. There's, I'm a transparency advocate. Loads of people are talking a load of rubbish at the moment, and I'm going around calling it out. That's where I come. So basically, anything that you think doesn't smell right, the science doesn't smell right, just give me a bell and I'll check it out. And obviously I just want to help you any way I can with any projects you've got, whether even if it's just sort of broadcasting them on social media and stuff.
Okay, that is quite interesting, to be honest, because it's quite a spectrum. First of all, I have to confess that we have a bit of physics envy for people like you that studied physics. You know, so it's not as if we don't enjoy our own discipline, but it's quite it's almost the king in the disciplines that look at reality, isn't it? So
yeah, well, that's the joke. Biology is a subset of chemistry, and chemistry is a subset of physics.
Yeah, but the interesting thing for me is that I have this collateral interest in physics, and I do read up a lot of physics. There's books like The New Physics for the 21st Century. I have books on Einstein. I have books on theoretical physics I read. I just finished reading the work by this guy, The Road to Reality, written by the Cambridge professor emeritus. So what is interesting for us, and also for Dr. Ike, is the fact that where I'm coming from is that I am kind of called to fix injustices in the world. It can be in any way. When I notice a remarkable injustice in the world, I will be interested in knowing who is being fooled, who is taking maximum profit and enslaving others. Whether I can build a platform, a digital platform, that can release possibly even better models, but democratize it to almost millions and billions of people. Because that's the only way we can, kind of close the yawning gap between the North and South.
Oh, yeah, and the bit that we overlap there is transparency.
It's transparency,
so
exactly.
So if I'm advising a business, whatever business they are, and however sustainable they are, just be honest. If you're, like one of my colleagues, he does vehicle wrapping with PVC plastic.
Yes.
And I say, and he uses that because it's the best and only material you can use. So long as he says, at the moment, we're using PVC. It's not very good for the environment, but it's the best we've got. If you know better, tell us and we'll use it. We'll give it a try.
Exactly.
Then he gets an honest badge. Now, and again, right. So my concern about yet another digital platform is that there are lots of digital platforms out there. It may be quicker to find the good ones. I would love to go through which are the top people out there already. Like, have you heard of Stephen Fern and ARC 2030?
Not necessarily. I'll get to know a lot of people.
Yeah. So
through the partnership we're establishing. But what I'm looking at is, I'll give you a simple example. The John Wileys of this world and the Taylor Francis of this world, put it that way, actually inflict what I call triple jeopardy, more or less, in a way, because they, for instance, may actually be producing not necessarily hard copies of some materials every time. They will get licenses paid for from higher educational institutions. Individual academics will still be coming to them. If they're not properly affiliated to institutions, they may not get, they still have to buy for them. If they publish a journal, upon the fact that you already have a subscription, if you're in an environment where you may not easily execute your subscription to be able to order your book, or your journal paper, they charge you for that journal paper, your own paper. And then, of course, when they publish materials from very good authors who are just eager to publish to be promoted, they give them paltry, and I mean it, paltry, commissions. I know that Amazon is solving the problem, yes. Okay, Amazon itself has its own problem. So these injustices, if you closely X-ray it, it's all over the place. And also, there may be a need to develop niche propositions that can resolve some serious problems in developing countries. You may not necessarily get some existing platform to do that. So we have to form a movement. We usually form a movement of global academics that understand these games. So the platform is not just owned by myself. We build it down and it's a repository. We still use other platforms. I'm very bold on LinkedIn, for instance. I'm almost across all the socials because I have IT staff that work under me. They do the job. They are paid salaries. So, for instance, we're into Pinterest. Name all of them. We're there. So, and I write articles on LinkedIn almost every week. One major authority post must be posted. But that is just the social media aspect of what to do. But technically, we are building systems that can, outclass existing systems at ridiculously low fees for people that are intelligent but cannot afford fees to very, very well be properly trained. That's the game. It doesn't mean that we end up building platforms forever. No. It's only when we feel that the problem is so big and existing platforms do not solve the problem, we have the capacity to mobilize a platform and then put content behind it and move it forward. So that's what I'm saying, really. We can do with a lot of support. I'm somebody who believes that there's nobody in the world that can know everything. And all you're trying to do is work with people. Like, for instance, as soon as you said who you are, I'm already impressed because somebody that went through that nature of training, okay, I'm also a scientist to some extent. I'm a mathematical scientist. My PhD is in stochastic models at the University of Sheffield. So mathematical biology, to be honest about it. Okay, so that's my area. But of course, I branched into finance using those models in finance, because they have error terms. So we're dealing with uncertainty in global systems. It can be financial system, it can be any other kind of system. So that's exactly where I'm coming from. Fixing those injustices is very important. Because, truly speaking, colonial masters have left and given people independence. They did not tie your hands not to develop. You inherit something from them, which is good enough, but you can also adapt it to your own circumstances. The publishing model at the moment that is being canvassed in the Western world is puerile as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't solve any problem.
I mean, so I'm aware of some of the publishing issues, like there's a few, like, what is it that the Elsevier is owned by freaking Murdoch or whatever.
You see?
So so there's that. There's also there's also, as exactly as you said, it's all a bit incestuous, that you have to this business of peer reviewed is not quite as equitable as you might think.
Yes.
So right now, is there no good publishing platform? No. What about the preprint archives, for example?
Oh, no. This is what I'm saying. You see, I find it extremely useful to use ResearchGate. ResearchGate, I call it preprint because my model of publishing, I've already built a publishing platform. Of course, you can go there and you can contribute your own improvements. We want to serve the world. Well, I'm not saying that I may not get a little quid from it, but it's never to make that kind of profit that will make me, an Elon Musk tomorrow morning. I'm not interested in that kind of money. It's not my business. My business is to help the world, wherever people come from, to access authentic knowledge and deeper solutioning process coming from integrated models that are built over my life. So as far as I'm concerned, there are good platforms. For instance, ResearchGate, you put something there, people can at least read it. Now, we can later on take time to develop it further. It can go into a journal, it can go anywhere. I do that a lot. So there are those ones. And then, of course, if you go to the social media, LinkedIn or the US, you'll be able to talk to people. Okay. But I have not, and the model of publishing that I am fighting now is a situation where, I'll give you a simple example. Nigeria has 219 universities. Nigeria has 219 universities fully approved by the National Universities Commission. In those universities, there are about 5,000 professors. Nigeria got independence, more than 60 years ago. Nigeria is still a developing country. Why? What is the problem? These professors to be promoted are being ranked. Their publications are being rated by all these H-index, SIMAGO. I'm not saying there shouldn't be international standards, but those standards do not actually reach what I've already put in my own system for helping that knowledge to be properly applied so that we can develop. That's exactly the kind of injustice that we are fighting. So we are not.
Again, I'm gonna pin you down a bit. So what specifically, what do you want to get done next? Or
let me give you an example. There are 7 criteria of excellence that I think personally, given my multidisciplinary, strivings over a period of almost more than 30 years of academic work, okay, that I've seen, only 3 of them are mainstreamed in a big way in current traditional models of publishing, the one I call traditional academia. The rest of the 4 are being practiced somewhere by people who are in the know, but they are not brought in expressly. Just like you talk about transparency, they are not transparently put into, documents, so that those academics that are being enslaved through the ranking process can actually start reacting to those ones, because those are the ones that actually deliver the oomph across the cure helix. The quadruple helix is what I call academia, industry, government, and wider society.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Prof. Dr. John, I think he wants you to mention where we can work together.
That's what I'm telling him now.
Your top priority or something like that.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, because this is only an exploratory meeting, to me, I'm satisfied to understand him in this first gambit, and he understands me. When we come to, we can always schedule another meeting where we talk about specifics. To me, I'm happy to know the direction of travel, because there's a lot we can do together. Yes.
Yeah, the other thing is that what I'm seeing is, in very general terms,
yes,
there's a lot of knowledge and information out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is not in the right place.
Okay.
So expertise from country A isn't country B.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. And the other one is, there is so much information and knowledge out there.
Yeah.
But no one's actually doing anything.
It's true. You're right. If you look at something like the money supermarket, where they do price comparisons. As an example, it was a situation where there was a proliferation of, legacy companies can come and charge you anything because you feel you very badly need an insurance or you need something for your car or something. But later on, when these guys began to put together the price comparison sites, in as much as nothing is perfect in the world, at least it gives somebody a level playing field to know, okay, this is what I can save if this is giving me the same cover, but cheaper, and it's still from a reputable company, something like that. It's almost something you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been looking at that for the genuine carbon offsetting.
Okay.
So I've seen, so again, I don't know if you know, but the ones with the big fans and the big machines.
Yeah. That's
all rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all a scam.
Okay.
So basically, the most efficient carbon capture is basically mangrove and the right tree in the right place.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are a couple of there's a couple of people that I sort of trust.
Yes.
One of the guys is called Charles Appleby.
Okay.
He's a person to look out for.
Okay.
And what I like is that you can track you can track the process all the way to the local farm.
Okay.
So it's all very transparent.
Yes.
And the cost, he's talking about £12 a ton. £12 a ton CO2, which is a very nice number. If he could,
very nice number. You're right. You're right.
So that's for example, that's one of the things I'm looking at. I'm looking at because he gets it. He understands that it's got to be the right tree in the right place.
Yes.
Providing an income for the local community.
Yes.
Basically, they've all got to win.
Yes, it's a sustainable.
And again, us three here, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But when you get to government organizations, something goes wrong. They're always basically someone somewhere like ticks a box.
Oh yes.
But they don't check it out, or something goes wrong when you get to a certain scale.
If when now we're in this remit, okay, we formed what is called the International Center for Research and Industrial Development, and that's where applied energy comes in. That is where we are very interested, because is of course linked to this COP 27, 26 global climate, whatever, the general big picture. We believe that developing countries are being shortchanged, okay, and
on so many levels.
And it is not, we are not going to expect to fold our arms and the problem will move away. So we come together to say, you know what, we want to formulate an indigenous, properly authentic and valuable climate energy production systems, and linked to, because when we own the process that will serve us well, we are not completely jettisoning or any good standards, but we are adapting for that. That's one example that already is on one of my platforms, which I'm going to share later on. Okay. Another problem, for instance, is this issue of substandard education. And I'll tell you the truth, 90% of what is currently existing doesn't solve problems. It's only in those particular disciplines where there's already a laid out, like if a medical doctor trains in, you go to hospital or GP, you can be treated of some illness. You can say at least there is a direct value coming out from that training. My own daughter is a medic. So when I look at that, but look at some other disciplines, mathematics, for instance. I'll give you a simple example. There are famous mathematicians in Africa, but they don't produce anything. So sometimes I wonder, they don't have the right model of how to disseminate and how to put models, mathematical models, into production and of services and products that can resolve challenges in the world.
Yeah, so what's the bigger priority for you? Is it publish or use the knowledge properly to actually make some money?
It's the same. I'll tell you what, it's just a common spine. Excellent, authentic excellence in 4 things. Just 4 things that cover the entire landscape of what you call research and teaching and anything. You can break it down if you want. Research, integration of knowledge, I of K, okay? Applications and teaching. What majority of academics in the world, especially those in developing countries who don't have technologies, do, is to maximize their effort on the R, publishing the papers that are meeting the SIMAGO H-index nonsense that is being currently spewed out as I speak. Then the teaching, where they come to dazzle students with what they know. But in between, the I of K and the applications are weak. So nothing is produced. The students do not see practice. They cannot actually apply the concepts. Somebody has to fix this. This is the biggest bane of underdevelopment in the entire African continent and developing countries. I am telling you this. So instead of basing the ranking and promotion of academics on the legacy system, the current traditional model, no. We come and say, you're going to have to tick these 4 boxes sufficiently. I tell you what, I don't supervise PhDs any longer. I stopped that long ago. I supervise PhD techs, meaning the PhD is everything you want in theory that satisfies whatever model, Western model, I don't know. The tech is the application that must be part 2 of that work. And when that work is finished, people are already trying to use the results practically across academia, industry, government, and wider society as is suitable.
So getting really specific,
yeah.
Can you like name 3 things you'd like to get to application?
I'll give you an example. A proper understanding of banking and financial management based on the RIAT, okay, based on these RIAT, these 4 things, and mobilizing better financial institutions, call them fintechs, a new breed of fintechs actually, because which is not too traditional. That is one, easily. Now, this is one of them. 2 is the capacity for the RIAT mechanism to be joined up with the needs of society. Very important. A model to do that, which we've built. But now disseminating that model is important. Demonstrating its efficacy, producing case studies, going on global summits and things like that, training people is very important. So these are global problems we are solving, because even if you allow them to travel into small different disciplines, one concept, for instance, every single discipline must be professionalized, be it history, be it religion. People are making money from religion today. So you must, as a professor, as an academic, work out how the concepts you are standing before people to teach are actually applied. And that requires pedagogical innovations. And traditional academics are not good in that. They may be good in their physics, their chemistry, their statistics. They may not be very good in putting the things together in a way that can solve problems. And
well, that, for example, is because you're in Sheffield at the moment.
Yes, I'm in Sheffield, yes.
So what I've seen is that there's actually quite a lot of sustainability work in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not applied. And also, you know, have you seen the Diamond building?
Yes, I've seen it in University of Sheffield.
So University of Sheffield Diamond building, that's an eco-sustainability disaster. It's
I've just been there once. Mind you, I trained there. I did my PhD there, but of course I had left before it was built.
Well, it's very pretty, but
yes, I know.
It's all glass. Because it's all glass, it's an environmental nightmare. Its energy footprint is awful.
Exactly.
So there's lots of talk sustainability, but then when they actually build their own building, they sort of don't follow their own rules.
That is the point. And that is what I'm saying, that it is people that come together to rescue, okay, their own, locations or regions from problems that can quite pretty easily be fixed. It's just that I don't know why it appears nobody bothers about fixing them.
Yeah. So as I say, I'm more practical. I get banking and fintech, but that's not where my interest lies. Can you name any specific?
No, I'll give you a simple example. We have arable land in Africa and Nigeria. We have trained people in animal science, agriculture, blah, blah, blah. We are not preserving enough of our yearly produce. And it's not rocket science. All the tomatoes that are produced in the country, some of them are wasted at the end of the day. Mangoes will fall. The only ones that people eat, when they eat that one that has fallen, some other ones in the wild, which are extremely sweet and wonderful, nobody is capturing them to process them and preserve them. And yet, we are saying that sub-Saharan Africa is going, is challenged by a lot of food insecurity, for instance. Now, the question I'm asking, if those academics were properly trained in the models we're talking about, it can never happen. That is why now, through working with Ikechi, there has to now be a movement to address that issue.
Yeah. So again, us three here understand that, and
Yeah.
it's blooming obvious. So
So we can start from there.
It always seems that is it politics?
No, it's not really. I tell you what it is. Politics has its own problems. Poor governance, corruption. Forget about it. If you give me, if we come together and do the right, we actually apply the RIAT thinking properly. We go in a small scale, just small scale demonstration. We call it small farm. We don't need to be to show
demo
demo the right stuff. Once that happens, you will see other people who may be coming to make the money coming in with resources. That's what I mean. You still welcome them, but you are in control because you know where you are going. You can agree with some win-wins if people are coming to maybe put some resources into it genuinely. After all, Bill Gates, people like that, they make a lot of donations for charity. So what I'm saying is, we as academics have to own the process of translating RIAT work into products and services, into offerings that meet the needs of society.
Yeah, right. And at the moment, do you have any good connections with genuine not-for-profits in UK, or do you have your own not-for-profit in UK?
Well, all my platforms are international, they're online. But I'm saying I'm not even looking at it. Apart from meeting somebody like you who I'm excited to meet, to be honest, because we have similar thinking. Are you getting my point? Okay, we can see develop things specific later. I have never seen this as coming back to UK or US. Yeah, we can collaborate. We need to start these things ourselves. We are trained, for Christ's sake. We need to start these things ourselves and see how far we go. We then bring in people as well, depending on the needs we have.
The reason I bring that up is because, as far as I can see, it's sort of all about the money. And sometimes it's easier to ask for money when you're a not-for-profit or a social enterprise.
Yes, what I'm saying is, okay, for instance, the African Higher Education and Research Observatory, which we, register with EKSN, that observatory is just like a charity. But there is also some other thing, something like analytics, the Oseloka Analytics. An analytics firm that I'm running is a limited liability company. I'm pushing my statistical knowledge to solve problems in the world. In that case, I'm going to be paid for that. But the AfriHero is a movement where people are coming together. They can still benefit from, social profit, at least something like social profit. It doesn't have to be the kind of capitalist profit we are looking at, because we are trying to grow a base of change movers in society, to train academics, students, and professionals in the right possible way, get their hands dirty with doing stuff instead of writing about stuff. People publish, they don't do.
Yeah, the other model that I'm looking at is the B Corporation. Are you familiar with those?
Not necessarily. I can Google it, once I get the recording, I mark the keywords and go in and do a lot of work. But my thinking is, our bane has been that we fight shy of leading things, leading solutions that are to help us. And I want to be honest with you, that some people out there who are willing to help. For instance, I know that there is also politics of aid, international development aid and all that, but there's a genuine aid that comes in through philanthropies, yet the governments embezzle it because the people that should actually use those things are not speaking up. So it's channeled through government departments and it's gone.
Yeah, that's what really resonates with me. Okay, the good news is the whole world is ready for transparency. After the naughty stuff with COVID, the naughty stuff with governments, the naughty stuff with election shenanigans, the naughty things with social media censorship, people are ready for pure transparency. So that's because, as I say, my main concern about, I don't give money to charity, but if I did, my main concern was, is it really getting to the ground?
That's it. Filtering down. Even bottom up. We do bottom up. to be honest. And I tell you what, I'm not just trying to, I'm not trying to sell myself. I have, conservatively speaking, even while I was lecturing in Harlem University, okay, up till now, I could have spent almost 150,000 just from my own personal money developing this solution. So I wasn't looking directly as making money as such. You know, it's about who is going to bear the cat. Why should people, populations in developing countries, suffer to this extent when the knowledge out there should have helped? But people are imposing standards that are puerile, that are not actually getting things done. That's exactly where I'm coming from. So the injustices are all over the place. So one can always choose. In short, I have about 7 platforms, no, 10 platforms now built. And I'm not, important thing that I develop the sensitivities, the grand thinking, and people come in and take over. I'm not expert in everything, but I channel thinking and people can run with it. So there are movements, you know, special interest groups all over the place, and everybody is galvanizing. The beauty is that everything is on one common model that is, you know, phlegmatic, built over 15 years.
Yeah. So right. Anyway, so getting sort of back to the point. What would be really helpful for me is just the links to where I can find all about all the stuff you're doing.
Yes, I'll give you the website.
I'll send the same back to you. Basically, yes. The ones sort of things you've seen what I'm good. What I'm good at is spotting scams,
which is almost like what I'm doing, spotting injustices.
So there is a statistics related bit there as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm very interested in So I'm very interested in transparency,
yes.
Practical solutions. Have you heard of the term transition engineering?
I've heard about it. Not that I work. I'm not in engineering, but I've heard about
it. Very briefly.
Yeah.
We know we're stuffed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't need to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
We need to be focused on the solutions, engineering solutions, practical solutions. So somehow we've got to get more conversation on potential solutions.
Exactly.
Rather than looking backwards as what's gone wrong. We have to watch out for traps. We have to watch out for traps and scams and things like, as you say, corruption. But we need to be moving forward. And as you say, pilot project.
Very important.
And again, we can only pull people. We can't push them.
No.
So basically that's all, you know, that I think there's something interesting here, but let's see if we can actually inspire some people and get them on board, and something specific. And as you say, start small, demonstrate something, and
then grow big. Yes, and get big with it. Yeah, I completely accept what you're saying.
Have you heard of a guy called Barry James?
Barry James?
James.
No.
He's like a sort of a UK expert on crypto and fintech. Okay,
I've not heard about him.
He's quite an interesting. He's got like a social.
I started to make sense, to know whether I can make sense of cryptos. Up to now, they don't make sense to me. I don't invest in them. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I'm quite ignorant. I'm just telling you, I felt that the once I decided, I put 200 pounds in one of them, it was gone. I said, okay, this is a murky area. Yeah. Now, but I said, I couldn't put my finger on it. I just called the family meeting and say, I am dad. None of you for now should put money in this until we are sure what's going on.
And also, most people don't understand the difference between blockchain,
exactly,
which is a useful technology, and cryptocurrency, which is mostly attracting scammers.
Exactly. So that is why, because I didn't understand it, I always own up. I don't know certain things. I say, no, I've not understood it yet. I'm not going in. You know, for it at the moment, I mean the crypto I'm talking about, because I say to myself, okay, why do you do that? I ask a lot of questions to some of them coming to me and say, look, what particular business you do that generates this amount of profit? They can't explain. I say, because I understand stock market analysis. I train PhDs in stock market analysis. Why? You don't make money that fast in normal financial system.
But more sensibly, do you know much about micropayments and mobile phone banking?
No, I know about those ones. Yeah.
So
about,
that, again, I don't know anything about that, but it looks like a useful technology.
Yeah, to me,
everyone seems to have a mobile phone.
Yeah, and that is even the biggest communication tool in developing countries, because an old woman, the son may have bought her at least to be making a call. It may not be smart. Majority have smartphones, even those in secondary schools. So this is why everything we are doing on platforms, we're optimizing it for mobile.
Yeah, because one of the bees in my bonnet, one of the things I'm interested in is getting information to the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
exactly.
And the most efficient way to do that, because you know there's so much stuff available for free legally.
I know.
So the most efficient way to get information to the middle of nowhere sometimes is for a person to take a little SD card.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because if the broadband is rubbish, it's cheaper. Sometimes it's cheaper to post an SD card than it is to send it down a wire.
Exactly.
I'm very interested in like, so for example, so Ikechi knows a guy called Michael Brown.
Okay.
Michael Brown and I are in an international coaching community.
Okay.
And the big boss there, he's got loads of stuff for free on YouTube, coaching stuff. And he may release some stuff very cheaply. Yeah. And again, it's just a question of how to get those videos to the middle of nowhere. And I would love, because that's what Michael Brown's doing wherever he is.
Let's explore that again, because personally, as I speak, one of my platforms is an SSGS Academy or YouTube Academy, which is skills for students, graduates, and startups. That is the biggie. That is the one that brings all research done on the 4 spheres of RIAT and shows and sells, more or less, just sells in quotes, the offerings that those things yield. So we have that academy on YouTube, and we post videos, recorded video on it. You know what I mean? So that helps again, that at least we are doing things and may benefit from knowing who else is doing something. Just
exactly.
And I appreciate what Dr. Ikechi has done today. It bring us together. We are equally in Sheffield. We can have a pint together somewhere and we talk. Because to me, we have the same interest in solving problems.
Let's call it a day.
Yep. Thank you so much for this.
Nice.
And I also want to thank Dr. Ikechi for bring us together.
Well, again, it was amazing. Michael Brown made the introduction to Ikechi, and now Ikechi made the introduction to you. We will win.
We will. Ikechi said to me, he's an arch node in the network. That, you know, his network is so huge, and it's a blessing that we are able to work with him, to be honest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you both for your time.
Okay,
really
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Keep safe, guys.
Yes, thank you very much.